Hello! Time for a video, and which I'm not going to edit a lot because I don't have a lot of time. But I did want to talk about the metaphorical implications of what we just done. So in my last video, Michael, Rhonda, and I made disgusting cookies in honor of the Hunger Games coming out. There's something interesting happening, I feel like, with regards to the Hunger Games, and that is that, you know, there are a lot of ideas in the Hunger Games. There's like hope and love and despair and strength and friendship and all that good stuff. But shush. I don't care if I have an email. I'm making a vlog. But I think the coolest thing that Suzanne Collins does in the Hunger Games trilogy is that she outlines a world and a story in which we are in there. You know, our society exists in that society, and it's not exactly our society, but we are the bad guys in that story. Like, Katniss Everdeen and the people of District 12 are not, you know, people with high-speed internet connections. We're certainly, you know, we're not, you know, taking children out of slums in South America and putting them into an arena to fight to the death, so we're not, like, as complicit in as much evil as the people of the capital in Panem, but we are complicit to an extent. Like, you could easily make the argument that we care more about the well-being of our lawns than about the well-being of people in the developing world. And it's really easy. Like, Effie Trinket is always like talking about how rude something is while participating in the slaughter of children. She's like, oh, so just don't stab that table, it's mahogany. And it's like, you clearly care more about the table than you do about the fact that you're like sending a child to die. And she does this really well. She actually outlines that Effie is not really a bad person. She's just had the same message being whispered into her ear for her whole life. You know, it's been 75 years since the Hunger Games began. Effie Trinket is probably in her 30s or 40s. So this is like, not just since she was born, but probably since her parents were born, this has been an institution. Like, there's no one alive in the Capitol, roughly, who remembers life before the Hunger Games. And what they would remember would be a horrible life of war and destruction and all kinds of bad stuff. So you can understand, and Suzanne Collins does a really good job of this. You actually understand, like, if you're looking at this sort of implication, this broader message, she actually outlines the fact that the people who of the Capitol who are complicit, you can understand why. Now, the interesting thing to me is when I read The Hunger Games as a dystopian science fiction novel, that the message is very clear to me, but it seems like most of the people are missing the message. And that message is that, like, it matters more whether or not we're rude than, like, and conform to social norms, like wearing normal clothes and not saying bad words in front of little kids. That matters more than whether or not you're, you know, helping children not die of malaria. Like, it's infinitely, it is inarguable that it is it's more important for me not to say fuck in the mall, like, in front of little kids, than it is for me to, like, use some percentage of my time and income to help little kids not die. Like, which is obviously, like, more important? We should be helping them not die. Like, we should care more about them not dying than about which four-letter word they hear. But that's not how we behave. We behave as if the fuck is the biggest tragedy of the day, because that's what's most shocking, and this is all social, and we're stuck in culture, and that's the message that Suzanne Collins gets out there eventually, and I think that it feels like it takes I think in the second novel is where you sort of start to get an idea that like Effie doesn't even really notice that what she's doing is wrong. And it takes her so long to figure that out because we are stuck in culture. Like, we breathe culture. We can't, like, we choke without it. And what we're raised in is so hard to remove ourselves from. But, and what we have is a culture that is shocked more by curse words than by starving people. And that's because there's a lot of reasons for that, but I think that what we need to do, like our goal as human beings and as nerd fighters, is to try and change culture, like so that we can live in a world where hunger is not okay, where war is not okay, where like we just don't accept those things. And if we like can get into that culture, then at some point maybe we can live in a place where there is no hunger because we didn't accept it anymore. And it has to go both ways. You have to start decreasing hunger, and then you can call hunger more of a tragedy, because when the number of people that there are right now in abject poverty without clean water and enough food, you can't say that hunger isn't okay, because it has to be okay, because there's like literally it's unavoidable. Like we can't fix that problem in the next 5 years. It would be wonderful if we could, but we can't. But the point is, the metaphorical implications was that it was okay for a couple of guys to go to a grocery store and like buy enough food to feed a kid in South America for a week just for the lols. But it's like that's and we have to be silly. We have to have a good time. We can't spend all of our time and money and all of our sort of like mental health on trying to like always focusing on the world's problems. But the point being, like, The Hunger Games is a very serious book with a very serious message that our culture accepts things that it should not. And our culture is accepting things that are not as bad as what's happening in the Capitol, but they're bad, and we accept them. And we are much more shocked by little stupid things than we are by the big gigantic tragedies that we all, as a human organism face constantly on this planet. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And that's it. We are cultural beings like fish are water beings. But unlike fish, we can change culture and make it better for all the fish. Goodbye.